On the next all-new episode of Fooly Cooly Grunge.
Shin, look!
Huh? Come on out of this! Where are you? Huh?
Fooly Cooly Grunge. Next Saturday at midnight on Toonami. Next day on Max.
Fooly Cooly Grunge is still going strong.
And while we hope you're enjoying it,
the beat doesn't stop there.
The gears that are in charge of our destiny are starting to turn!
we've got even more Fooly Cooly headed your way.
Don't miss the premiere of Shoegaze, September 30th at midnight.
Ever since we got here, my heart's been pounding and my head feels like it's gonna...
Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
It's the Toonami Faithful Podcast, where we pose the question, what's going to do you in first? The steam or the smog? In this episode, I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have...
editorial writer, Laser Kid.
And we have a returning guest.
Hi, it's Celia Rose. I used to be the social media director for Toonami Faithful.
Welcome back, Celia. How have you been?
Busy, but it's good to be back. It's nice being on the podcast again.
It's nice having you here. I had, let's say, a little bit of difficulty finding people who wanted to talk about the first episode of Fooly Cooly Grunge. There were people that were interested in talking about the show, but they didn't want to talk about the first episode. They wanted to see where it went. Y'all are the guinea pigs.
I mean, I don't blame anyone because, yeah, if this was all there was, oh boy.
Yeah, it's not the best first impression, I'd say. Unfortunately. But it is here. The what is the third attempt to rebottle the lightning in another iteration of Fooly Cooly. This one with an immediately jarring visual aesthetic that had people worried from the get-go. But I am here to say it's fine. It doesn't look bad.
No, visuals are fine.
It has a certain charm to it.
It's different, but that's not necessarily bad.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I was seriously concerned as soon as I heard CGI. Like, oh boy, here we go again with this not great CGI anime that Toonami's making. But it's all right. I think it works for what it's going for. But what it's going for, now that's the question. What is it going for?
I don't think it knows.
I don't think it knows either.
Yeah, it seems... I don't know. It's just... Like I said before we started recording, I just rewatched the original Fooly Cooly. So, like, after seeing the original one and going to this one, I'm not certain what it's trying to accomplish in its own setup.
I will say, even though there are definitely callbacks and some scenes that are very reminiscent of things that happened in Fooly Cooly, and even references to things that happened in alternative, at least, and possibly progressive, I think it's trying to do its own thing, at least to an extent. I'm just not sure what that thing is.
It is, but it also isn't, because it is trying to do its own thing, but it's also trying to do its own thing with existing Fully Cooley iconography. I mean, we've got a random Conti in there. Of course, we've got Haruko in there. We've got Eyebrow Friend in there, or at least some version of him.
Yeah, it's Amuro with his eyebrows. Different actor. I think Dave Malo is no longer doing voice acting. So we have Aaron LaPlante taking over that role. That's Spear from Primal. He's also done some other anime. Notably, he took over for Travis Willingham in Tiger and Bunny, which was an okay choice for Rock Bison. I don't really like his Amuro.
I'm not exact. If that's I actually was assuming that wasn't him. That was just a similar. But if it's actually him, yeah, that's a.
Yeah, it's definitely not Dave Malo, and honestly, Dave Malo's voice is so iconic for that role. It's a darn shame that it's not him. But you gotta do something else.
Yeah.
I just didn't quite nail it here. Like, by comparison, I thought Ray Chase as his character in Alternative was really good.
I would agree.
I don't know. It's only the first episode, but I have. It is probably the weakest vocal performance in here, and that's a darn shame because there's a lot of good ones.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good ones. In particular, he doesn't have a lot of scenes, but Luis Bermudez as, gosh, I hope I said that right, as the Rockian guy. What is his name? Shonari, and his older brother's Dainari. And it amuses me that Dainari is voiced by Mark Thompson because Casey Jones from the 2003 Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's certainly not his only role, maybe not his most iconic, but for me, that's what matters to me. So he pops up in a lot of NYAV post stuff, even though he's native to New York, and I think most of these actors are native to LA, but maybe it's more like an even split because there's a lot of people I don't recognize their names anyway. But yeah, I think what little scenes Luis had were really good. I think he gave a good performance there.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely felt like it had the vibe of like the mundane from the original Fully Cooley.
Yes,
when he was acting as Shonari.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with the quiet scenes, and it does inhabit that vibe of Fully Cooley that is a very particular vibe that not a lot of shows can manage. I can think of a few that did it, like this past year Call of the Night anime, I think has some Fully Cooley vibes to it.
I can see that.
But yeah, there's definitely some Fully Cooley vibe going on here. Some of the people that commented about the episode, did the hashtag Toonami Talkback, felt that it did have some of the vibe, which I can agree with.
I think it really helps too that you had the music return, because really the Pillow soundtrack is so iconic.
It's so
and
much
the
of the
song
vibe
that they picked when they opened the episode sounded just like the songs they were using in the original one. So it really set the tone very nicely and made it obvious that this is a Fully Cooley thing, even though it doesn't look the same anymore.
Yeah.
The initial impression that you get of Shinpachi, Shin, is he seems a lot like Naota at first, but I would say they are fairly different characters in the respect that Naota was passive. He didn't want to deal with anything. Shin is probably the most assertive FLCL protagonist so far.
His
I know
father
Kana was
like
a busybody, but none of the others wanted anything to do with Haruko when they first meet her. Like, none of them. It's like, there's this crazy lady doing weird stuff. I want nothing to do with that. Or Jinyu in Tomi's case. But this guy, he goes from literally just meeting Haruko to, all right, whatever she's doing, I'm on. Let's go. I need something to change about my life, and if this lady's going to make it happen, then yeah. So, in that regard, I think he is probably the most assertive of all Fooly Cooly protagonists.
Yeah.
But it also feels kind of abrupt.
That would be my feeling about the entire episode.
Yes. To pull from another person's review, the IGN review, which was actually written by somebody who was a participant in the Toonami Show Rundown podcast, his feelings were it was speed running a Fooly Cooly season.
Yes! That's exactly how I felt about it. This whole episode felt like, hey, here's an entire season of Fooly Cooly in one episode.
Or at least half of one.
Or half of one, yeah.
Yeah. It does feel that way. And it's really weird because this has never happened in a Fooly Cooly. An episode just ends mid-action. There's always a cooldown. It's always something crazy happens, then there's a cooldown, the episode ends. Not this time. So I don't know if that means that it's going to be continuous like a movie, or if that's kind of, I don't know, like they could literally open up the next episode and make no reference to the fact that they were in the middle of doing something. It depends on what kind of show they want to be.
I'm not sure it knows right now.
It
Do
does.
you think that
seem a
it
little
could
confused.
have ended in the middle of action because it's trying to have some of that same frantic energy that the first one had?
Yes, I think it's trying to have some of that frantic energy, and you see it when they occasionally switch up the animation to be 2D stuff, or more exaggerated, or something. There's a lot of times where they're trying to recreate that energy and not quite getting there.
Yeah, well, and to be honest, it's going to be hard to replicate because, this time around, watching it recently, I was able to pick out Hiroyuki Imaishi's cuts immediately because he storyboarded for like half of it. He was an animation director, and when it's just going boom, 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 and it's these like really high speed, like dirty jokes, I'm like, that's Imaishi. Nobody can copy Imaishi, not even his apprentice, whose name escapes me at this moment. He directed Gridman. And he can get close, but it's not the same. And I feel like it's a mistake for them to try to recreate or match that energy. And they really should try to just do it their own way. I mean, it's only the first episode. They could surprise us and take it in their own direction. But right now it feels like they're just trying to copy it. And it's not really working. Yeah.
Well, one thing that seems kind of curious is from the episode preview, it's briefly mentioned that Haruko is the mistress of a Yakuza boss. And apparently in the next episode, said Yakuza boss is dead or no longer able to give orders. So she takes over and the Yakuza are like, no, we're not going to listen to you just because you were the old man's girl. But I don't know what that's all about, but it should have something to do with Shonari because he's part of that Yakuza family, and so is Dainari. So, what are the basic plot beats of this? Okay, so we got Shinpachi. He is fed up with this awful town. Something smells, and it's not like Team Spirit. It's literally a garbage dump of a town where there's flies everywhere. Garbage is piled high, and the water looks like piss. It's gross. And the fish are all very poisonous, but they're sushi chefs, so, they could deal with poisonous fish and actually serve it. But the rock guy's like, I wouldn't eat that. I couldn't eat that, but I wouldn't, even if I could. Apparently Rockians, which, by the way, there is no explanation whatsoever why they're here.
Yeah,
at least
we're
two
on
of them.
some alien planet, apparently.
Are we? Rocket ships are a thing because they're all the wealthy people are escaping. All the wealthy and important people
There's
are.
a comment about this planet smells like a dump.
At least the town.
Yeah.
Okura. And yeah, because Eyebrows guy Amuro is here. The Bureau of Immigration had him come in, and the mayor's not too happy about that. The mayor wants to run things his way, and the mayor's a little shit.
The mayor's like a comically evil version of the mayor from the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
I thought he felt familiar. That's a really good description.
There's also people that are comparing him to the Boss Baby.
Oh my god, I could see it.
Maybe a little bit of inspiration in there, especially with that cutesy face that he made.
Oh my god.
No, please, no. So Haruko has got this guy wrapped around his finger, as she does. And she's also trying to get a rise out of Shin because he's her latest target. Which, she kisses him. They spin around, the whole spin around kiss thing, because we got to do the whole spin around kiss thing. That is the most blatant ripoff in this entire first episode. But I get it, it's fine. But what I don't like is that there is no nuance to this. She's like, how's your head? Anything weird going on? Like, there is... Surely we all remember that Haruko doesn't jump right to that with Nawata.
Mm-hmm.
It takes her a little while before she comes back into the scene. She's like, what's under the bandage, kid? Yeah, we're this is why it feels like a speed run.
Well, and it's also weird. I mean, granted, I haven't seen Progressive and Alternative, but it's the point of impact, not a kiss, that activates it.
You're
when
right.
Nata gets slammed in the head with her guitar, which is noticeably not present in this episode also. And it was
she never
very
busts out a
odd.
guitar. She busts out a katana at some point, but not a guitar. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen
the
Progressive
point
and
of impact.
Alternative, and I don't get this either. I had some
because
issues.
in Progressive, Hidome gets hit by a car. I forget what happens to Kana.
I did too, but I
Yeah,
may have
it's not
problems
a
with
kiss.
Progressive, and Alternative's ending's messy. But you know what? Those weren't doing whatever this is. I don't understand what's going on here, and I'm really hoping, really hoping that they slow down the next couple episodes and give us some context because it really needs it.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that they wanted to cram all this stuff into the first episode and then they'll kind of figure it out after that. That's kind of how I felt about the first episode of Progressive.
Yeah, I guess it kind of did. Not to this extreme, but...
No, not to this extreme. This is... Where at the end of this episode, the hands coming down on the iron... Everything's going crazy. The steam's going out.
Well, and if this is supposed to stand on its own, this doesn't make any sense if you don't know anything about Fooly Cooly. Not at all.
That is also true.
Well, and so I pulled up the Anime News Network page for Fooly Cooly, and they have Grunge categorized as a prequel. So, which makes the events even more confusing.
I don't think it's a prequel because she called Shin Takun.
Right? She called him Takun, and then when he's narrating, he's like, the town's been destroyed so many times. And so when I see that it's listed as a prequel on ANN, I'm like, wait, then
is it?
Is it? Like, if it really is truly a prequel, like, this could be a mistake too. It could have been miscategorized, or they were given incorrect information.
No,
But
I
if it's
actually
truly a
think some
prequel,
of
why
the
would
press
they talk
materials
about that?
suggested it was a prequel. But I don't. I think they got that
Oh.
wrong. I think they got that wrong, but
That makes more sense. But even then, I'm just like, I don't know.
did he? Did Haruko call anybody Taku before Naota? Because she only started doing that because of Mamimi, right? I think so.
I
Yeah,
think you're right.
I think she was calling him that because she was calling him the wrong name first.
Yeah.
In the original one, she kept calling him Taro, and Mamimi's like, "That's not his name," and then she just started calling him Takun after that.
Yeah. Also, every time she says Shinchan, should I think of Mr. Butt Dance?
Oh, Shinchan.
There was at least one time when I thought she said Shunchan.
Shinchan. Why did
Thanks,
that license have to
Shunchan.
expire?
Yeah.
Honestly, if they don't make some sort of Shinchan reference, like visually at some point in the show, what a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That would be so fully cooly, because that's what the original one had so much of, all those visual homages and stuff.
You know what would have been perfect?
They should.
When she calls him Shinchan for the first time, he should have took a moment to go, Shinchan, and then his head changes.
He gets the, like a Shinchan
Right?
face going, huh, for just a second.
Well, they didn't do that. Kind of a shame. Well, whatever. One thing that Shin does seem to have in common with Naota is a complicated relationship with their father. So the father seems to be fairly stuck in his old ways. He's a sushi artisan, and the world's coming to an end, and he's like, nope, got to keep the shop open, got to do my job. We have deliveries.
Right? It's actually kind of interesting that we know there's all this chaos going on in the background. I actually feel like that is very Fooly Cooly, like in terms of the original. Because there's all this crazy stuff going on in the back, but still the mundane daily things about life is still up at the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
And Shinpachi's dad is still like, yep, even if the world is crashing down around us, we still have to run our restaurant. So I actually kind of did like that. I liked the contrasting, or not contrasting, but like the juxtaposition of those two tones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But she's not going to have none of that. He's like, I'm going out there. And then he hits the freaking pan on the way out because of the protrusion. He said, the protrusion in his head that doesn't do anything in this first episode. Not a dang thing other than that gag. And a few other times when it's like, well, this is obviously a stand-in for an erection. So
I hope they don't make us wait to find out what that's going to be. Because Naota had something pulled out of his head almost every episode. There's no point in making us wait.
Yeah.
Well, Conti's already out in the wild.
Right?
The director. One of my favorite things in this first episode is the director eating. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
Crunchy,
I like that too.
Crunchy. That was good. Well, that's one way to get a computer virus.
Yeah.
I feel more so than most of the time, they really hammed up the allure of Haruko in this episode. They're like, she is sexy and you will pay attention. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Naocha's dad was constantly trying to get at her.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But his dad was also like a complete horn dog. So,
oh yeah.
His perspective and his opinion may not be the best one to take reference from, but I could sort of see it, maybe. We all know she doesn't have a sexy personality, and I think that's why it's just very weird.
Yeah, no, she does not have a sexy personality. She's a little firecracker. It's all right, you know. That's somebody's type. Like, did you catfish me? Like, well, I mean, not exactly. She just wasn't entirely honest about who she was. One visual gag that just, I don't know what they were thinking with this. Like, why didn't the girls in the cabaret club talk with their mouths moving? Just an odd choice.
I don't
There were a
know.
lot of weird odd choices, like the Yakuza with weird faces. Oh, well, you'll get it when you're an adult kid. Okay.
Yeah, those guys have a serious case of same face syndrome, like worse than girls in One Piece. Hi-oh.
Ooh, shots fired there.
We all make the joke. Actually, it was like future casting of One Piece, and so we had for Vivi, they just had Emily Rudd with blue hair.
Oh my god.
It was like, I get it, because all the girls look like Nami. It's like it's especially bad with Rebecca. I mean, come on, that's literally Nami. I digress. Yeah, they all have. And when you have a face messed up like that, you can't tell if your tender is legal or not. Hey, this isn't real money. Hi, I told you not to put the counterfeits with the real stuff. Yeah, real upstanding individuals here in the Yakuza. There's at least 2 Yakuza families. One seemed to be under the influence of the mayor, and the other is the one that Haruko has infiltrated and is the mistress of. So when Haruko's getting into trouble and Shonari shows up, he's like, what's Big Sis doing here? Because, you know, Big Sis. Part of the family.
Yeah.
Yes. And Shinpachi has one other friend. The girl Orinoko, her father is not well, but he is a knife artisan. So Shin's real happy to receive a handcrafted knife from him, even though we're all looking at like, are you really going to be able to cut fish with that? Maybe.
We'll find out.
It's the thought that counts. I mean,
She felt very out of place. Like when I first saw her, she looked like an Ilya Kuvshinov character. And she stuck out like a sore thumb, and not just because she's like got purple hair, but because she looks like she was designed by someone else entirely. So she doesn't quite like fit the aesthetic of everyone else. Maybe a bit too modern. Because like Yoshiyuki Sadamoto did the original designs, and they're going based off of his designs in the first place. But she didn't. She felt too modern, I think. A little too contemporary, and she sticks out against everyone else.
Yeah. I don't know. There were some other designs that didn't seem like very much like Sadamoto's stuff. Like all the guys in suits, their big chins and
right. Well, and the mayor too. Like the mayor also felt like he was from something completely unrelated.
Yeah, and I suppose in that respect, it's mixing mediums, but not quite in an aesthetically pleasing way.
Yeah, it's not terribly cohesive. I mean, maybe that's something that they're trying to experiment with, since there are limitations with the 3D CG in terms of like how wacky you can get with your animation, with like, compared to the previous Fooly Cooly installments. So maybe they have to do that to make it kind of have that same vibe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
There are some times when the motion is really fluid, and other times when it's really choppy. And in particular, in the action sequences, like when guys are firing guns, and it honestly, at first it feels like it's a censorship thing, but then blood starts splattering everywhere. This is like the most violent Fooly Cooly yet.
Yeah.
Nobody ever dies in Fooly Cooly until this mayor got what was coming to him.
Apparently.
Cut in half. Woof. But yeah, it's like it revels in the violence, but it doesn't quite commit to it because it's that's where the animation is kind of losing me. But there were a few moments when Haruko was moving around really swiftly. I was like, oh, that works, good angles. But other times, just really, really choppy. And that could be a stylistic choice, but I don't know if it's a good one. But on occasion, I did like some of the visual flourishes, like when Shin first sees Haruko and you're just looking up from her legs and you pan over to him, and for a moment he changes art style abruptly and is like, oh, I gotta go. I kind of like that. But other times, I don't think it's quite landing whatever it's trying to do. There's even times when Haruko herself is like just a static drawing. And I'm like, that's a choice.
It's something, I guess.
I did appreciate the sub versus dub argument.
I did like that. I will admit that made me laugh.
That was good. That was the kind of meta humor that I would expect from Fooly Cooly.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's named after the grunge music genre, but I did kind of hope that aesthetically it would kind of fit that a little bit more.
It's not quite accomplishing that, other than being really grimy.
Yeah.
It's like, it's grimy, but it's also neon. It's a strange choice.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't watched the other two, so they could be more polished, I guess.
What genre of music would you say it's anything like?
Well, maybe.
Techno, because it's going stupidly quick.
Yeah, maybe techno house, maybe.
The first thing I thought of was like a TikTok DJ.
How about Fooly Cooly
because they're
mixtape?
trying to right? Well, because it feels like they're trying to combine so many different things, and they're doing it in a really clumsy way that just doesn't work for most of this episode. And it reminds me of someone who's new to mixing and thinks because they put a mashup together that went viral one time that it's going to work. But that's, that very specific genre right there is what I would call it right now. It doesn't feel very grunge.
FLCL TikTok DJ. That's it's a mouthful.
Right?
We do that FLCL TikTok. Yeah. Yeah. Well, all that is to say, it seems like the people working on it are very happy to be working on it, so I'm happy for them. It's like a dream come true for a lot of them to be involved with Fooly Cooly, and Casey Mangelo in particular is like super, super happy to be playing the protagonist that's more than a little like Naota, at least visually. But again, I don't think Shin is very much like Naota personality-wise.
No, definitely not.
And that's a good thing, because the vocal performance a lot of times does channel that kind of Barbara Goodson Naota energy, and I think that's great. It's a nice callback in its own regard. But it's good that Shin isn't trying to be Naota, because then it would really be copying, because we're right back to Haruko trying to get something out of a preteen boy who, doesn't like life very much. Just a retread. So this is at least not doing that.
That's true. I am kind of curious because they did a studio change for this installment in particular, and I assume probably the same for Shoegaze.
Shoegaze
many
is
of
the
this-
same director as Alternative,
Oh, well, now I have hope for
Okay.
which
Well,
I
I'm
suppose you haven't
curious,
seen.
like-
but
Nah, I haven't. But I'm really interested. This is one of the times where it'd be really cool to be behind the scenes on stuff and find out why they didn't work with like Trigger or with Cloverworks. A lot of the people who worked on that show are
Mhm.
contracted exclusively to those studios. Like, I don't know if it's because they can't work on it because of the whole licensing thing with Gainax, if they're not available. Like, I would be really interested to find out why they may not have been an option. And it's not to say that like the people at Mont Blanc aren't working hard on it, because I can definitely tell that there's a lot of effort put into it, and 3D CG is definitely a labor of love. Like, it's not easy at all to render and animate all that. But I'm just really curious. It would be kind of neat if there was a way that the people who worked on the first one could kind of come back around 20 years later and be able to work on another project for it.
Yeah. There were various staff, well, at the very least, when they were doing Alternative and Progressive, they talked to Suramaki and asked if he would be interested in coming back to direct one or both. And he said, no, I don't want to do that. And I recommend that you get new people. So they got new people.
Ooh,
And it seems they are following that trend. I think they made a pretty good call with the director of Alternative. They also did the anime Punchline, which is fairly fooly-cooly-ish from what I hear. So that was probably a good choice. But Mont Blanc, they've mostly done commercial work. There was one movie that this director did. I don't know. I both think it's a good thing to let new people try their hand at these things, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, how great would it have been if you actually had people from Trigger or Cloverworks, or if you're going to do CGI, it seems like the obvious choice would be to tap Orange, but
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Maybe
Although
they-
Orange is
maybe not.
Orange is so busy producing their like extremely long, like their production period is so long. If they
Yeah.
contracted with Orange, we probably wouldn't get this show for like 4 or 5 years. So
Fair
Fair.
enough.
I do wonder if they tried to get Trigger at any point, 'cause that does seem like a sensible choice. But
right?
visual aesthetics wise, Alternative kind of looks just like your run of the mill anime. Progressive had its moments where they were really doing some neat stuff visually, but for the most part, I'd say it was not as good looking as Alternative, though it was kind of punk rock in its own way. So I don't know. This obviously being CGI and being a totally different aesthetic, I think the vibe is fine. Overall, the production on the other two were, I would say, decent, but for the most part, not fantastic. They looked fine enough, and the obviously the soundtrack went a long way. But yeah, but this one, I don't know. I'd just say it's okay from a visual standpoint. It maybe I don't know. It could. I'm trying to decide whether or not it's overly ambitious or not.
It
Yeah.
It feels like they rushed us.
But again, maybe they're just speed running all the fooly cooley-isms in the first episode, and we'll see where it goes from here. But
I mean, I hope so. I hope that's what's going on here.
I will say it is better than I feared it would be, but it's not that great so far, which is unfortunate. I'd really, really like Toonami to make a co-production that's just, it's good, no caveats.
Yeah.
It just hasn't happened yet. One could wonder if it ever would. If I were to say, I honestly don't know where I would want this story to go, other than I hope this isn't the most we're going to get for Shin. This is the episode named Shinpachi, and there's an episode named Shonari and an episode named Orinoko. So you'd figure that they would be the focus of the episodes. And yes, Shin was the focus of this episode, but there's not enough meat on the bone here.
No, there's really not.
Definitely explore more. I get the kind of I kind of get Shin's personality, but yeah, I'm not really sure what his motivation is beyond this place sucks and I want some change.
Yeah. And even then, like, I feel like with Naota, it was nice to see his character arc progress from being totally closed off and really being a sad and angry kid to opening up to everybody more and being really receptive to actually connecting with other people, even if Haruko had to basically beat him up every episode to kind of push him there. Shinpachi already seems like he's a pretty well-adjusted kid. He's just bored. Yeah. And is that boredom going to be enough for him to think that this is cool and for us to get some good character development out of him? Because him just wanting something interesting, I think, is not going to go as far.
Yeah, I'm really scratching my head as to where his character will go, though that you mentioned that. Maybe Shin learns contentment.
Oh, maybe.
Though, frankly, that town is really gross, and I don't think I would be content living there either.
No, I don't think I would either.
Like, the teachers have totally given up on teaching the middle schoolers. Like, all right, well, go get jobs, because we're done. There's
you never know.
places
The next episodes could surprise us. Like, maybe this is just a really weak start.
Yeah,
and the story is actually going to go in a surprising direction.
I certainly hope so. But from the perspective of first episodes, while I don't think Progressive was a fantastic first episode, it got me more interested in what was to come. And I think Alternative had a pretty decent first episode. So this is really not doing it for me. But there's potential. There's always potential. We can hope. Any closing thoughts?
I kind of wonder when this show is also... Actually, I'm curious, because I haven't seen the other sequels. Were they just as dirty as the first one? Or did they kind of like rein that in?
They reined it in.
They definitely
a lot. They definitely reined it in a lot. For one thing, the protagonists were girls, so they couldn't do the same dick jokes for the most part. Right. Though I will note that it is taking me this long since 2018 to realize, the reason why Hidomi's protrusion is a bright red color is because it's supposed to be a clitoris, isn't it?
That would make sense. I haven't
would.
seen it, but that would make sense.
Yeah. I think back then I thought maybe it was some kind of period joke, but no, that all right, that iconography makes sense. Okay.
Well, then
Kana
if
didn't
that's
do
the
that.
case-
Kana's was like a flower most of the time, which of course, a flower, of course.
Right. Well, if that's the case, then I don't think I'll expect any of the same type of humor from the first one. If it sounds like they've already reeled it in and really tried to clean it up a bit. So it's
They
not quite so
did, but I
raunchy.
feel like this one is considerably hornier than those two.
Yeah.
But again, it could be misleading. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The other two were pretty tame. It was at least implied that the boy character in Progressive that was kind of the co-lead was, a horny teenager. But it was really more like just a side gag. So there were times when Haruko's like, Ida, I don't need to see whatever you got. It's fine. She was totally dissatisfied.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That sounds like Haruko, though. I would not be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully they give her guitar then at some point. 'Cause
Eventually,
that fight
she
with her
definitely
using
has
gun
it.
was very weird.
Because,
It didn't feel like her.
Yeah. Fighting with a sword is cool and all, but yeah. Also, Shin threw fishes instead of doing anything. But Shonari shows up. He got that sword. Slash, slash, slash. Why is the ever loving blue eyed thing here, and why does he have a sword?
Right.
I don't understand. Why is his brother a slightly redder version of the thing that's wearing a Hawaiian shirt? Also, they only consume liquids.
Yeah,
which means
really
when
like
they
to know
become
what's going
adults,
on.
they pretty much subsist on booze. Darrell would understand.
He would. He would.
He would. Like, his mind's so messed up from all the drinking. It's like, well, maybe drink less. It's how he gets his nutrients.
I'm going to do the same thing when I'm older. Why? You know it's not smart.
Yeah. I don't know. Something to do. Low-key dropping bodies off in that nasty water. Is there Yakuza? Gotta get rid of a body. They're the errand boys. I was pretty amused when his brother fell into the water. He's like, hang on a sec, let me get my truck.
I thought this might happen.
It's okay, he's fine. We're tough. Still drowned,
Yeah.
though. Oh, man, that water was nasty looking.
It was.
And Shin was just fishing in it. Ugh. Ugh. Gross. So, fun fact. Sometimes you could hear the fish talk, and the fish was Maki. That's
Oh,
amusing
really?
to me. Yep, they finally got her to voice a character. It's a
And
fish.
it happens to be the chemically altered fish.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent.
All right, then.
No notes. Just as a fun thing that Mike Sinter Nicholas and Stephanie Shea had her do. Yeah. Certainly can't compare it to the sub or anything because it's not. Actually, maybe that's on HBO Max now. Probably not, but maybe. But the English script seems pretty good.
I don't know when the sub will be available because I watched it on Max yesterday and it's dub only there.
Yeah, when they put Housing Complex C up, they originally put it up dubbed and added the sub later. So that'll probably be the case with this too. They might wait until it's all done and then put the sub up. Yeah, I do wonder how some of those jokes might differ, but they're probably pretty close, seeing as this was basically made with the American audience in mind. But it could surprise us.
Good.
I actually haven't seen more than the first episode of Alternative subbed because Toonami originally played it sub for April Fools. And I haven't seen any of Progressive subbed, but I've been meaning to do that just to compare. That was first episode, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than what we've said.
Hopefully, there's more to say next time. But, you know, some of our listeners were more receptive of it than us.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that somebody is.
Let's see. I want to read some of these. At Hubert Hyena wrote, there were things I like and didn't like about the animation, but I like that they're being experimental. Did also feel it was closer in tone to the original without feeling like it was retreading much of it. Either way, I'm sticking for the rest and shoegaze when it comes.
I like this person's optimism.
I do too.
I do too. At Zero Convoy wrote, while the 3D feels really weird, holy crap, the writing seems to be going in a different direction than the previous shows. I honestly can't wait to see where this goes.
All right, Zero Convoy, it's time to transform and roll out because that's a good take.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, based on this person's username, I'd say they probably know what they're talking about. At Little Buster wrote in, I just watched it. While some of the 3D work is awkward at times, I never thought I'd say this, but this season feels so much more like the original. The remixes of the Pillow songs, the comedy, the characters, it all had me smiling, surpassed my expectation greatly.
Wow.
All
That's
right.
really high praise.
Indeed it is. Well, it's reaching certain people. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Maybe I'm just being grumpy. Who knows?
Yeah.
I want to know what episode they actually watched and make sure I didn't watch the wrong one because I did not leave with those same happy, optimistic feelings after I
did
finished
not
it.
either, but you know, it takes all kinds.
Yeah. I like this one too. At Die No Problem wrote in, I'm liking it so far. The 3D I think is fitting since the original FLCL used a bunch of experimental digital techniques. The bursts of off-model and mixed media animation is a nice touch. The energy is very fun too, and I'm liking the Pulp Fiction story. Also, I love sushi.
But not that kind of sushi, though, right? With the
Poison
fish.
They're artisans. They make sure that it's edible. They really played up the quality of the sushi there. And Mr. at Khaki Blue Sox, Joshua Cajun Samurai Knighton writes in, and so that's it for FLCL Grunge Episode 1. My thoughts, it's not bad. The animation was good, the VA work is excellent, and it kept me interested. It just felt a little jammed, like they jammed a lot into the one episode. Maybe too much. Maybe it's just me, but I felt like they did so much in the first episode, introducing us to so many different characters and concepts. It was hard to keep track. I mean, good grief, guys. Spread it out a bit. I'll stick around, though. That's fair. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have any commentary on future episodes of Fooly Cooly Grunge or anything else involving Toonami, you can hit us up with the hashtag Toonami Talkback or email us at ToonamiFaithful at gmail.com. I had a brain fart. It's like, I'm not talking about a Twitter. Though we usually do post like a talkback post that you can reply to on at Toonami News. So that too.
Yes, those usually go up on Sundays after the broadcast.
Listen to you talking like you're still running our social media. That's Steven and Brittany now.
I see them every week. I'm like, oh, Steven, Brittany, you guys are still posting stuff. I actually saw that Steven is live streaming the schedule creation now, and I think that's really cool.
That is neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Well, before we move on to our next topic, which will be a plenty long conversation about One Piece, we will bid goodbye to Celia. So thanks for joining us, Celia.
Yeah, of course. It was a lot of fun, even if we complained for a good portion of it.
Hey,
it was fun
sometimes-
discussing with you guys.
Sometimes a group complain is all you need.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know we probably didn't give the most glowing review, and Mont Blanc Pictures is following me on Twitter now. That's kind of awkward. They can read my review on ToonamiFaithful.com. It was I didn't give it a grade because I didn't want to.
That's fair. But I read your
your
review and I think it was fair.
I say
like
so.
maybe a 6 out of 10.
That's
Seven,
fair.
seven
Like,
seems
it's
too
not
generous.
like I hated it. It's just disappointing.
As the kids said, it's pretty mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty mid.
Yeah. Let's Celia, tell the folks where they can find you.
They can find me on Twitter at Planets Twinkle, or is it X now? Is that what we're calling it?
It's
I don't
still
know.
Twitter in our hearts.
It's the bird.
Exactly.
The bird is the word.
It'll always be
It
the
is.
bird app. I'm never updating.
Me too. I haven't updated it in weeks.
I haven't had.
But
the
yes, you can
episode
find me
long.
on Twitter. I know, right?
I just use the
I
website.
don't want to let it go.
I never will. You can't make me.
Yes. Oh, but yes, that's where you can find me on Twitter, and I'm also on Facebook at Celia Rose Cosplay.
All right. None of the new confangled social medias yet?
I've tried,
Oh.
and I'm not a fan. Like, even as bad as some of the other platforms are getting,
Mm-hmm.
they're still kind of the best out there, which
Yeah.
really sucks. But
Yeah.
what can you do?
What can you do? I don't know. The lack of DMs on Blue Sky really kills it for me. Like, this can't be my Twitter replacement if I can't DM.
Right? Well, and
Just
I
gonna have
tried.
to use Discord.
Discord is still like one of the best ones right now.
Oh,
It
Discord's
hasn't done
great.
anything yet that's made me angry,
Give
and
it
I call
time.
that a win.
It'll happen eventually, yes. But hey, I mean, they gave me an excuse to pay them money. I can use my sound alerts anywhere. So I'm actually
boy.
paying them money
Heck
now.
yeah!
I can be obnoxious everywhere.
Oh, come now. You don't need sound alerts for that.
No, but sound alert is the best worst decision they made because I will abuse them, and I have.
Nice. That does it for Fooly Cooley. When we return, Yumiko will join Laser and I for another rousing conversation about One Piece as we put our hands up for the last time for the Punk Hazard arc.
あの嘘と刻み込んだんだ誰にも負けない自由をこの手に握りしめていくんだ今すぐにもっと hands up そう夢歌ってずっと stand up 折れない裸影何度だって壁を越えたんだ止まらずにさあ行こうもっと look up そう胸を張ってずっと stand up 波を飛び越えて願いをそっと一つなぎにして未来へとさあ行こう hands up
Welcome back to the Toonami Faithful podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and I am joined by the One Piece crew.
You know it, gang
Come
gang.
aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams.
That's right.
We are on a cruise. Actually, we're on an island. The island of Punk Hazard. The very icy hot place that is mostly, well, most of this arc takes place inside of the laboratories. So get used to seeing gray walls with not much interesting scenery. That's kind of the whole deal. When we last left our heroes, some of them were in a cage awaiting execution. Others were trying to run away from the giant slime creature that is now turning into a giant smoke. And some were attending to some kids that are coming down from a real bad high.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, you could say that.
And it's around this moment that Trafalgar Law is like, yeah, I just have regular handcuffs on. We can escape anytime.
I was like, what?
Like you do.
Yeah.
There's still no explanation for why Frankie can't just, like, bust it.
Yeah.
He just wants to be part of everything.
He does.
He
Bless
does.
it. Bless Frankie.
It's like, can you fire any weapons? Just my fart.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very useful. Well, it is somewhat
Very.
useful.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna fart this up. Okay.
Now that Law's making his move, he's like, all right, what should I do with Tashigi and Smoker? And for a moment, you're like, oh no, what's he going to do? And he's like, there you go. You're back in your original bodies. And Tashigi's like, oh, what the? Covering myself up now.
Yes. Because she was out. It was a lot of boobage, and she was so embarrassed.
Smoker's just comfortable with his chest out, man.
Yes.
It's just very comfortable.
Very.
In his subordinate's body with the chest out.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Tashigi and Smoker are very concerned about their G5 men that are currently running away from the smog that will kill them. Not so great. Zoro, Sanji in Nami's body, Brook, and the newly reassembled Kinemon are also running from the thing. And Chopper is kind of snooping around, trying to figure out how to deal with the drug. And what was Usopp up to right now? I don't remember, but he regroups with the rest of them. So, long story short, not that long, they all get inside of the building before the smoke does them in, which is certainly a good thing. But the smoke can get into the building, so they definitely need to keep running. And running they do. Lots and lots of running. And running so much, and they get so tired that eventually Nami, because right at that moment swapped Sanji and Nami, and Sanji's like, no, you don't have to swap us.
That was so hilarious. Oh, that was hilarious. Because I was just like,
and Law's just like, fine.
No. He said, don't do it. And it was just so funny. Because Sanji was in heaven in Nami's body.
Yeah.
And so, he was so disappointed when he switched back. Bless his heart.
Yeah. Bless his heart, right. So they're running, and Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Brook, Kinemon, and was there anybody else? I think Robin. They're all on Brownbeard's back. And at first, Brownbeard's like, yeah, sure, I'll give you a ride, no problem. And then more of them get on his back. He's like, this is starting to get heavy. Get off. You can all run. And Zoro's like, we're not going to run anymore for a very good reason. Oh, yeah? What's that? We're tired.
I mean, I guess that's a good reason.
It's getting kind of warm in this facility. I think I'll take my coat off. Oh, we could just hang it right here. My back is not a coat rack.
Brownbeard was so done with them at that point. He was like, if y'all don't get your ass off of me and run.
Stupid straw hats, and they brought a dragon in the facility too, which was, he was kind of cute and doofy at first, but then the sedative wore off, and suddenly they have a fire-breathing, steel-eating, very strong dragon that Dr. Vegapunk produced. And now they got to run from that, too. Good job,
Just
guys.
Running from,
This
just
is
run from
great.
everything. Just
This
run
is
from
fine.
everything.
Everything is fine.
And sometimes there is an opponent in the way of the running, such as when Vergo shows up, and the G5 guys are like, Vergo's here! Yeah! This is great! And Tashigi immediately realizes, no, this is not great. This is very bad. And he goes corporal punishment on these guys, and at first they're like, oh, sir, I know, punishment is fair and all, but that you could kill somebody with that. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Yes, and he just was lighting their ass up.
That's the idea.
So who should show up to save Tashigi in her moment of terror? The simp.
Who
Yeah, I
else?
was just about to say no other than Sanji.
I can sense a woman's tears.
Yes.
Please, Sanji, please stop.
He will not. He will not.
So he
stop.
fights Vergo for a little bit and like busts up his leg. Oh, that seemed painful.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all like, I'm fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Everything's fine.
He also doesn't want the adoration of the men, at least not initially. But before long, he's like leading the charge with these guys. It's like, come on, you gotta show them how to be a man.
Yeah, all he's
Gotta
doing is
save
just
those
yelling at 'em.
kids. Why we gotta save the kids? Because then Nami and Tashigi will be happy with us.
Yes.
No, he ain't wrong.
Yeah, it's like we got to save these children babies. We got to save the children babies. Come on.
But who's doing the most work trying to save the children babies? A children baby herself.
The best
Mocha.
children baby.
Mocha,
Best children baby.
the MVP. Mocha is trying to keep the
Absolutely.
candy away from the other children and trying to explain to them in their, delirium that she's trying to save them from the bad candy. The candy is not good, but these kids, they want that candy. They want it real bad, real violently bad.
Yeah, they ain't hearing that shit. They want the candy.
No.
And you're being greedy. Let me have some of that candy.
Yeah.
That's addiction, literally.
It is. It is. It really is. Bless
And they're
these children.
literal kids. I mean, of course they have no self-control whatsoever.
And these are some big ass children babies.
Yeah, they are.
'Cause-
You would not want to cross one.
So them being pissed off and
Yeah, they're very.
it was a lot.
And realizing that there's really nothing else that she can do, she makes the sacrifice play and eats the whole bag of candy. At least most of it's still wrapped, but
Yeah.
Ooh.
It-
Man, that gives me chills every time. It's just like, Mocha.
Oh yeah, it was.
But these ungrateful brats are like, oh, you ate all the candy. You should have shared. Ah! It's like, dang it, kid.
Yeah, they were just like, oh Mocha, you greedy. You're not gonna share with us. Like she's
Except
saving y'all.
they start noticing that Mocha's not doing so hot after eating the candy, and they kind of come to terms with, oh, she wasn't lying. This is bad.
Yeah, it's like, hey, she's bleeding from the mouth. Candy's not supposed to make you bleed from
Yeah.
the mouth.
No. No, it's not.
I don't-
Yeah, if your jawbreaker's doing that,
It's literally breaking your
literally
jaw.
breaking
you
your
know?
jaw. Bad stuff. And just in case you thought Caesar was the worst, he is so the worst because he even acknowledges that these kids in his experiment, they're not going to live. He realizes already that they are going to die. He just cares about the data.
Hey?
Oh yeah, he's an awful ass person.
Absolutely. This Caesar is just horrible.
Mhm.
I thought he was horrible before, but holy shit.
Oh yeah. He is.
I'm so glad Luffy punched him really, really hard.
Yes.
I like that moment with Luffy and Smoker teaming up briefly. That is a fun dynamic.
It is a fun dynamic. It's good to see it happen again.
They're charging. Luffy's running so fast he's setting the floor on fire.
Yeah.
Literally burning rubber.
Yeah.
And then they get to the door. As Bogart's like, all right, we're going in. Hang on. I need a moment. I was running so fast I set the floor on fire. Okay, we're going in. No, I told you. I need a moment.
Okay, we're going in.
They look in. Virgo's not here. Luffy sees Caesar. Immediately. Bam!
Yes.
It
was on site. Oh, yeah. It was
no
definitely
hesitation.
On site for Caesar, yes.
Had it coming.
We like to see it.
We do.
We do like to see it. So there's a short scuffle where Caesar is using his powers to make it so Luffy has to fight long distance, but I mean he can stretch.
Yeah, last I checked,
This fight's gonna go fine. Except the Harpy lady's here with her snow powers. And she gets the better of Luffy for a moment there and freezes him for a bit, but it doesn't pin him down for long, but she does end up making him fight desperately enough to break a hole in the ground, which was not the best plan.
It was not, but it's Luffy.
Straight down to the garbage. But as luck may have it, somebody else is in the garbage chute.
Indeed.
A dragon.
Yes.
A little pink dragon.
Little pink dragon.
Huh. And Luffy's like, all right, I gotta get out of here. We gotta save the kids. And it's like, you're no pirate. You don't act like a pirate. You don't look like a pirate. Pirates are like big and strong, and you look nothing and act nothing like a pirate. It's like, you ain't wrong.
But you have heard of me.
Oh yeah, Momonosuke. Somebody was looking for somebody named Momonosuke.
I wonder who that would be.
Yeah.
Kid doesn't even realize he can turn back to his normal form. I mean, fair.
Yeah.
If you suddenly turned into a dragon creature because you ate some weird fruit, I think you probably wouldn't immediately realize that you could go back to normal.
Bless them.
So they climb their way out of the chute, though it does take a bit. Feels like it takes longer than it should have. Honestly, the manga stretches it, the anime stretches it out a bit. I was reading this in the manga, and it's like literally they're down there, they talk, they're up. What's this guy with the dragon? This is good. Yeah. Meanwhile, Law is dealing with the sad in the sad room.
Yeah.
He's trying to destroy the sad supply, but he gets stopped by Virgo.
Everybody's favorite. It's Virgo. And by everybody's favorite, I mean nobody's favorite.
Yeah, and I think for the first time in a while, there's nothing on his face.
Yeah. No food, no utensils on his face this time.
Yes.
They keep calling back to that thing where he thinks he has something or he's going to do something. And they're like, you don't have a sword. Oh, yeah, I don't have a sword.
Bless his heart. He don't be knowing. He don't know.
You're going to take pictures with that camera that you don't own? Oh, yeah, I don't have a camera.
Yeah, bless him.
This guy, I don't know why Oda decided this guy needed to have two quirks, but okay. Kind of a shame that he ends up in pieces and dies. He dies.
Literally.
Yup.
Law slices him up and leaves him for dead.
I mean, and nothing of value was lost.
True, but
not at all.
Virgo's at least a bit more interesting of an antagonist than Caesar.
Yeah.
But he is also total scum. Just absolute scum. And oh man,
Let's just say when I learn things
when
later.
we get to Dressrosa, you will understand why this man is truly scum.
And I'm very glad retroactively that this is what happens to him.
Yes. I'm very, very happy that he's in pieces. Yes.
He's in one piece.
He's in many pieces.
Yes.
Many pieces.
But that was a pretty cool fight between him and Law, and Smoker got involved eventually when he realizes that Virgo wasn't over where Caesar was. And they have a good scuffle, and Virgo's like, Smoker, why are you insisting on using your smoke powers? You know you could just fight me normally and it would be more effective. You're just making yourself a bigger target. It's like, oh, because he was cleverly using his smoke to steal back Law's heart.
Yes. Shout out to Smoker for that.
Smoker stole Law's heart.
Yeah, literally.
He did. It's true.
Literally.
Yep. So that all happened. And let's see. So, right. Mocha's doing real bad, but Chopper's trying to attend to her as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the Harpy Lady is now in the biscuit room being a deterrent. She's trying to keep anybody from going after the kids, but somebody's in her way this time. Some big himbo of a man that is not going to let her do anything. But he is also not going to be very proactive in fighting her for some reason. I don't really understand why Zoro's doing this.
Me either.
But Tashigi shows up. I don't know. It seems like a questionably written portion, but I guess it's just there to let Tashigi kind of have a moment, though not really.
I think the idea is he got told to do it, so he's doing it, but he doesn't really care, so he's only half-assed doing it.
All right, that checks out. Like, Zoro doesn't know Monet's whole deal. He's just like, you're not worth my time. I'm not gonna scuff up my swords fighting you, Snow Woman. Totally unnecessary. But she reads it as, he's Sanji. He won't attack a woman. No.
That is not it.
That is not it. Not at all. No, sir. No.
And a critical
the sword of
error
justice
was
is
made.
unisex. Indeed. But Tashigi fights Monet for a bit, and she's not quite powerful enough to deal with her. Her hockey's not quite there yet, because these more advanced Devil Fruit users, you basically cannot beat them without hockey. Even Luffy has to use hockey against Caesar.
Yeah. Hockey.
It's almost if Oda one day went, I really should come up with some way to disable Devil Fruit powers other than just the Sea Prison Stone. Yeah, let's just come up with something that normal people can learn, I guess.
Yes, hockey.
Hockey!
I feel like it was always coming because, the scene early on with Shanks.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. But it's kind of like when you have all these other Marines that don't necessarily have Devil Fruit powers, you got to have some other way to keep them in check. Might as well be this.
Yeah.
Which, in this case, often turns into armament. But
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Virgo's armament wasn't as good as he thought it was.
Was not. Absolutely not.
Just cut right through that guy.
Yes.
Ooh, boy.
Slice.
Yeah. So Tashigi gets some swipes in, but she's not doing so well, so Zoro finally steps in, slices Monet in half, but doesn't use hockey, which would be essential to actually maim her. But Monet is really confused at this point because she doesn't understand why he suddenly is willing to attack her, but Zoro's just, he's just whatever.
Yeah, he's like, all right, well, here you go. Let's wrap this up because, we got to go with everybody else. They're trying to save these children babies. So let's go.
But Monet thinks she has an opportunity to strike back at Zoro, and Tashigi does her in with some hockey. And she's like, why didn't you finish her off? It's like, I would have if you didn't. Sure, you could just say that after I did the job. But then she's too tired, so he carries her around. And as we all know, when somebody is getting carried around by Zoro, they're not going to go the right direction.
Never.
Zoro does not go the right direction. He doesn't know how.
It's true.
Never.
It's
You're
true.
never going to end up where you're intended to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking of later events.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, with the help of the G5 boys and Sanji, we managed to sedate the rest of the kids and get Mocha into a stable state, though she's still not really well. I mean, she's consumed a whole lot of that bad poison, so.
Bad candy.
Remember,
Yeah.
kids,
And
don't take candy from strangers.
Yeah. After escaping from that short scuffle with Luffy, Caesar goes to Vegapunk's old control room to monitor the situation, even though he doesn't want to even be in there because he hates Vegapunk that much. And this is the moment where we learn about yet another reason why Caesar really deserves to be punched very, very hard. Yes, no surprise, it was not Dr. Vegapunk who poisoned all of these soldiers and made them lose their ability to use their legs. It was Caesar.
He's such an ass.
Face. Who could have seen this one coming?
And he has the gall to pretend he was their savior.
He's such an ass.
He really is.
A lot of gall, this guy. Lot of gall. And now he's going to open up more vents and let Land of the Dead into, and there are many moments where it's like, how are they even getting away from this gas? It seems to be everywhere. Plot convenience.
More or less.
Definitely.
That's all it is.
Definitely.
I mean, there's that moment where the G5 guys throw Tashigi so she doesn't get caught up in the smog, and they're like, no, my man! Spoiler alert, they're all fine. This stuff doesn't actually kill anyone. Caesar's even a con man in this regard.
But it was awesome with them posing with the thumbs up, though. I was like, oh, that did take a little hard. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
These guys are doofuses, but they're kind of bros, too.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They got big hearts.
Yeah. It was sweet.
Mm-hmm. So it's time for Luffy versus Caesar, the final round, which goes pretty fast, honestly.
Very.
Very fast, very satisfying.
Yes, very satisfying.
Seeing Caesar get his butt kicked is worth the price of admission.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Everybody gets out of the building, away, the safe route. They're all fine. The sad facility's been destroyed. Things are looking good, but there is one crucial moment where Doflamingo's being informed of all of this, and he tells Monet, all right, Monet, you know what you have to do. You have to destroy the whole facility. Die for me. And she fully agrees to this. She's ready to hit the button and destroy everything, kill everyone. And then Caesar pulls out the heart that he thinks is Smoker's. Just a little petty attempt to get back at them, even though he's in such a terrible state. And what does he do? He stabs Monet's heart and she dies instantly.
Yes, she does. Don't even get to push the button.
Nope.
What a twist!
What a twist!
To which Law says, "Hey, I just returned the heart to him. It's I was just being thoughtful."
That was funny when he said, "Hey."
When you do good things,
yeah,
the karma comes back to you.
It's true.
It is true.
Well, Doflamingo's not too happy that things are looking real bad, and Caesar may end up getting taken away. He's already sent 2 of his assassins, Baby 5 and Buffalo. And Baby 5's kind of fun, but gosh, Buffalo.
Buffalo is a man that exists.
Is he a man?
He's a thing that exists.
He is a male, I will give you that. Airmail.
Airmail.
Yes. Airmail.
Yeah, he's obnoxious. But Baby Five's got really cool powers. She can make weapons out of her body.
Yeah, her little
very good opponent for Frankie.
Oh yeah, now that was fun.
She's also just entertaining.
She is. All right, you get a lot more of her shtick in Dressrosa.
Yes,
but just
the
little bits.
Do.
The little bits that we've gotten so far is like she can't say no when she thinks somebody needs her.
They need me.
Yeah, that's how she is.
So any old schlub could propose to her,
and
she'll accept. Now, to Doflamingo's credit, well, he doesn't have to kill them, much less the whole town in retaliation, but in order to keep her from these stupid marriages, he does, take care of it.
Yeah, he it's like serious overkill, but look who we're talking about.
You there were plenty of other options.
Yeah,
but it's Dofi.
It's Doflamingo.
Yeah.
Dofi. Mingo.
Mingo.
Yeah.
Mingo.
Bird guy.
Bird guy.
Bird
What kind of kingdom could he run? Must be a bird kingdom. Oh, thank you, Luffy.
Oh, Luffy.
Thank you so much.
Luffy is the best.
Great logic,
Makes perfect sense.
He ain't wrong.
No. There's some birds there. So now Doflamingo is on his way, airwalking the whole way to Punk Hazard from Dressrosa.
Yeah, he's moving fast as shit.
Yeah, he's real fast. He wants to get there. But he just misses him.
He does.
He does.
Conveniently.
But before that, we don't have time for a party like at the end of most arcs, but we do have a time for a nice big meal.
It would
Definitely.
be a One Piece arc if they didn't
have
at
to
least do
eat.
that.
Kinemon and Momonosuke reunite.
Oh,
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's precious. And they have that moment where he's refusing the food, and Kinemon says, "No, it's good food. I know that you've suffered a long time. We can eat this." Sonya was about to end that kid.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
He jacked the little kid up, said, "Look here.
Look here,
you spill that food.
You gonna eat this damn food."
Mm-hmm. But he's also very conscientious, like, you haven't eaten for a long time. Start with the soup.
Yes. He was nice.
Kinemon's like, I don't care how long it's been since I haven't eaten. I'm eating all of this.
Kinemon, he sat down so quick and started eating. He said, forget all that. I'm finna eat.
A samurai will start eating now.
Yes.
Yes. Anybody else catch? There was Kinemon, with his knowledge of things as he has, he compares devil fruit powers and technology to various things like Ninpo and magic.
Nimpo.
Well, I see where he's coming from, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The breast band woman, as he says, could be a ninja.
That's what he said.
And he also called he called Robin a courtesan.
Like what?
Well, I mean,
I don't know why you would call her that here,
No
but
idea.
these are things that I noticed while re-experiencing this arc. Among other things.
Oh yeah, I noticed certain things in this art that I was like, things that come up in later arcs.
Yeah.
Like not to spoil anything, but when Kinemon kept kicking that dragon, he just kept kicking the dragon. You felt like it was overkill. Keep that in mind.
He seems to have a disagreement with dragons.
Something about dragons.
Which is pretty awkward now that it's, now that Momonosuke can turn into one.
Yes. And
pretty
then
awkward.
and then something that Sanji asked, well, it's something he observed. He was when he was watching Momonosuke and Kinemon, he's like, I wonder what they've been through.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy, we will learn.
Even I don't fully know.
They also made a certain reaction to a certain name.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
They're like, you okay?
Yeah.
Yes, it's nothing.
Yes. Yeah, when they mentioned a certain somebody, they started freaking out.
My gosh, Oda. So many seeds.
So much foreshadowing that Oda does, and it's just
so much foreshadowing.
Oh, okay. So that's why I like. So it's just, even though Punk Hazard is, leading up to the big old Dressrosa, he Oda still gives you a little bit of things to be like, okay. So.
Yeah. And then we have the awkward moment where the pirates and the Marines are like, okay, well, we don't hate you, but we can't stay friends.
Yeah. Luffy was so confused. He was like,
friends?
Yeah, because Luffy was like, we were just eating together, so now we're not friends anymore.
Luffy's all like, if I share food with you, we are friends.
Oh. Boy, and he takes it to heart. Trust me.
And, the G5 guys are like, they do appreciate the Straw Hats, but they realize they're, in a predicament.
Yeah, they're just like, we have to say bad things. We have to think of them this way because we just have to. We have to.
Yeah. The Smoker's grilling Law a little bit, like, are you sure you should be teaming up with Straw Hat of all people? And Law's like, yeah, well, who's really using who, I think.
I mean, fair points.
Yeah, fair point.
Because Law's like, I want to take down Kaido. And Luffy's like, I'm going to take down all 4 emperors, but not Shanks first.
Yeah,
as long as it's not Shanks first, it's all right.
Yeah, like, not Shanks.
He's going to save the Shanks for last.
Yes.
Probably.
Shanks.
Yeah. Luffy's very ambitious. I did notice that Monet, when she was dying, said that Doflamingo will be king of the pirates. Like, oh.
Okay.
I don't know if he's really all that interested in that, but
Okay, girl. All right. Whatever. He's not going to be king of the pirates. Luffy is. Caesar's
minions that eventually realize he is a total dick.
Yes.
Are like, look at that, your captain's running away. And Usopp's like, you don't know my captain at all.
Oh, yes, honey. Usopp said, let me tell you something. What you not finna do? Talk about Luffy like that. Not my captain.
That's right. You know, they sent Usopp to find some sea prison handcuffs, but didn't they just, like, get rid of some of those? Why do they need more?
Honey, I don't.
That's whatever. It was cool when Usopp shot him at Caesar.
Yes, it was.
That was good. That was a great moment for Usopp and for Nami.
Yeah.
For them to both come through right
Usopp
there.
and Nami had some good moments here. You love to see it.
Yes.
You do. You do love to see it.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I really liked that moment where initially Nami didn't like the idea of letting the kids go with the Marines, but she has a conversation with Tashigi, and later she and Usopp are talking about it. She's like, you know, I think it's going to be all right. There's just something about talking with a lady sailor that puts me at ease. And Usopp's like, oh, yeah, your mom was a Marine.
Aww.
It's true.
Aww, Bellamere.
Bellamere. One of the good ones.
She was. She's one of the good ones.
Be a good Marine.
Yeah.
They exist somehow.
Yep.
Yes.
So they leave, but they also leave a snail bone with Baby 5 and Buffalo, who are all chopped up. Because Law has a message for Doflamingo. And to sum it up, it's, you can have Caesar back, but you have to denounce yourself as one of the warlords. Go back to being a normal pirate.
Yes.
I can just hear.
You can just see the vein.
Yeah, I can see the vein and
yes.
I can hear the vein.
Oh, yes. Ooh.
Doflamingo smiles all the time. When he's not smiling, oh boy.
It's scary. It's very scary. And that vein starts popping up in his forehead. Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, so it's a good thing they beat Feed, because they do not want to deal with him. On the other hand, I've been thinking about this. If they had stayed and fought Doflamingo there at Punk Hazard,
well, they would have gotten destroyed.
No, it would have been way easier.
Really? Well, I guess it would have just been him.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Luffy just ate.
Oh,
Law
yeah.
also just ate. They're both in decent enough condition to fight. I mean, compared to how it eventually happens, this seems like it would be a way more manageable fight, and Doflamingo wouldn't have nearly as many cards to play.
That's true. He wouldn't have nearly
And
as many
Smoker's
allies.
there too.
Yes. Because it's a lot of moving parts
Uh-huh.
once they get to Dressrosa.
And then we would have avoided a whole lot of trouble in Dressrosa. I mean, they still have to go there. They still got to destroy the factory and stuff.
Yeah.
But because that's all part of the plan. They've gotten rid of the factory that produces the sad. Now they got to get rid of the factory that took the sad and produced the fruits, which is in Dressrosa, which is the thing that produces the fruits that Joker then sends to Kaido.
Yes.
So he can have his whole animal army. Yeah.
Animal army. Yes.
Gee, that filler villain would get along real well with Kaido.
Yes. Because
I mean, well,
he
maybe.
is crazy as hell. Yes. Just,
Yeah. Probably. You know what? Let's just go ahead and talk about that right now. That guy was such a jobber.
Yeah.
So after
was
this
so weird.
After this arc, they did a 3-episode filler arc where Caesar gets taken by Breed. He has the pet fruit that allows him to control animals and people. He can also control people. He just generally doesn't like people because, like, they try to give us kind of a glimpse into his whole deal by showing that he was on a pirate crew, and they're like, you don't understand other people. It's like this makes me feel nothing. I don't just. What is this? I don't care. Among the animals that he controls is actually the Kung Fu Dugong from Alabasta, who lost to Luffy in a fight way back when and has been training ever since. And apparently this Kung Fu Dugong recognized Luffy in the paper and drew the X on his stomach, as a tribute to Luffy.
That was
but
so sweet.
Didn't immediately recognize Luffy when he meets him again. Sure. It's filler writing. Who cares?
It's filler, yeah.
But
it was nice to see him though.
It was fun to see a Dugong again.
It was fun to see a Dugong, and he has his whole crew. They're like
he has a crew. It's so sweet.
Sea creatures that are going on an adventure. And dude, these sea creatures went from Alabasta to the New World.
Yes,
that's insane.
Proud
that is
of them.
insane.
So proud of them.
I mean, granted, they don't have to worry about not being able to swim, but
no, they don't.
But still, it's a very treacherous journey.
I mean,
so,
even if you can swim, there's these
props
things
to them.
called Sea Kings.
Yeah, exactly. And they may not mess with you all that often, but they do get hungry.
Yes.
And all these creatures are food.
They are.
King. For sure. So, yeah. Well done, Kung Fu Dugong and company. You really braved those waters. That's impressive.
Yeah, and they had a boxing octopus. That's the one that got me. I don't know, where the hell did y'all find him? That is
a judo.
Wasn't it a judo penguin?
Yeah, and and a capybara.
All kinds of good shit.
And a whole lot of sea lapins. Hey, it's those lapins, like on Drum Island. Remember that, Luffy? Oh, yeah, Chopper, but these are different. And Law's all like, they're sea lapins. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, you gotta love Luffy. Oh, okay.
One of my favorite moments in this stupid little arc is when Ramen's like, Law, Luffy, and Chopper are all getting into that little submarine, but they all have devil fruit powers, so if anything happens, they're at the mercy of the sea. And Usopp's like, cut it out, Robin.
Yeah, Robin is going to be Robin.
You're jinxing it, Robin.
Law called Usopp nosy.
Yep. Robin's going to be Robin, and that was funny when Law called Usopp
Robin
nosy.
Gonna Robin.
Robin's going to Robin.
Robin's gonna Robin. I am thoroughly. I mean, they take care of this guy pretty easily. Also, another instance of Law being like, actually, I'm not under control or anything. I'm fine. I can still use my powers.
Again.
I swear, in that second episode, it doesn't even look like he's wearing the collar, but in the third episode, he's wearing it again. So that's just an error. But all it takes is apparently earplugs, and then this guy's powers just don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But we did have some kind of pull at your heartstrings moments where the Kung Fu Dugong's like, please don't hurt them, please.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Little guy put up a fight, and Luffy's like, come on, I told you how to throw a good punch.
Oh.
Bam. Right, I was like, oh no, Luffy dies at sea. Sure, Toei. Sure they do.
Yeah.
They are not going to get dead. Okay.
But did you notice there's no to be continued?
Not at all.
At least on the Toonami broadcast. Mm-hmm. Though the next episode also didn't have a to be continued on the Toonami broadcast, so I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, One Piece keeps doing this thing. It's like, somebody dies. Like, do they really though? Do they?
They don't.
No.
They don't.
Goku's dead.
Yeah, Goku and Naruto die in the next episode of
Toei. I do remember that filler episode of Naruto that had a title something like Naruto Dies was like one of the best rated episodes.
My dang.
At least in that year, which was admittedly when Naruto was kind of cooling down for Cartoon Network, but I digress. It's just funny to people really tune in for that episode, I guess. And then we're thoroughly disappointed that it wasn't. It was not as advertised. Yeah. No, Luffy's fine because, again, Law had nothing controlling him. He was totally fine.
Yeah.
All I needed was earplugs. That was pretty funny when they're trying to talk to Breed, and Luffy's like, what? I got earplugs in.
What'd you say? I wasn't paying attention.
I can't hear you. What you say? What's happening?
Lassie? Timmy fell down a well?
I'll give this guy some credit. He was smart enough to capture Chopper first. That definitely made it a lot easier. Oh my gosh, this guy. He's a regular Elmira.
Yes.
My
gosh.
little Chappie. His name isn't Chappie. Chopper rips off that terrible hat and it's got his normal hat underneath.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't take the other hat off. Admittedly, that might be difficult because like the antlers are like through the hat.
Mm-hmm. It's like, nope.
There were some moments when Chopper was giving Law a hard time, and I was like, is this retribution for things that happened in Punk Hazard?
Yes.
The Chopper keychain.
Chop.
It's a good thing Chopper's around, of course, because he can talk with the animals.
Yes.
The animals.
He's the good old translator for the animals.
It's like, I will show you my true power. I will use my power on myself, which enhances my strength for some reason. Okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
And then his powers just kind of stop being as effective on the animals. I'm like, willpower, cool. I guess. I am thoroughly convinced that the whole reason that this little arc exists was somebody really wanted to make Law act like a dog.
Okay.
They want him to sit, roll over,
shake.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they wanted that for Luffy too, but specifically Trafalgar Law.
Yeah.
That is definitely somebody's fetish. Those animators, I mean, they never see their families. This show never takes an extended break.
No.
And you really feel it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you really feel it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially during Fishman Island and Punk Hazard and Dressrosa.
Oh, Dressrosa.
You're definitely gonna feel it.
Oh yeah.
So, no surprise they get Caesar back. They have to, otherwise the plot can't move forward.
He cannot.
So let's get back to the tail end of Punk Hazard now, because it's going to be a slightly more satisfying way to finish the conversation. It'll be it's significantly more satisfying way than that filler arc for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doflamingo shows up. He starts wrecking the G5 people. He pins down Smoker pretty quickly, and things are looking bleak. He's not happy at all, of course. And who would show up but the Iceman?
Yeah.
Kuzan is here. He is no longer an admiral. And everybody's kind of wondering what his whole deal is. And he's like, I'm just me.
Basically, I'm just chilling.
He's just chilling. Literally.
Yes.
With a penguin.
You might say that he's just here because he's cool.
That's
that
right.
Too.
Unlike those Yeti brothers, they weren't
very cool. But this guy, cool.
He's one cool customer.
He is. Great.
But he still feels some obligation to pass important information along. So he's telling Smoker, all right, you should inform Akainu about all this stuff and, set everything up. And this could be a serious problem with Don Quixote Flamingo. So Yeah,
he's like, tell that bitch of a fleet admiral. Tell that bitch I said he might want to saddle up.
Yeah. Things could get bad.
Yeah.
And he ain't wrong.
No, he ain't wrong.
Big shakeups. Big shakeups coming. So, they asked Doflamingo to step down as a warlord, and you may not understand all that entails, but his immunity that he has as a warlord is pretty much the only reason that he can stay as the king of Dressrosa. So if he steps down as a warlord, he also has to give up the throne of Dressrosa and, severely cut back on his influence all around.
Yeah, especially with the underground.
Yeah.
His little underground deals.
Clearly,
going on.
He really doesn't want to get on Kaido's bad side because he will go to all this length to get Caesar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be on Kaido's bad side either, so I understand.
No,
I don't think I would.
Who would?
Luffy.
Yeah.
There's pretty much a whole freaking kingdom that doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. There is some opposition, but not much.
Only someone as dumb as Luffy would want to do that.
That's my captain.
That's my captain. Oh, captain,
That's
my captain.
My captain.
Saw Netflix tweeting, what would Luffy do? And I'm like,
what wouldn't Luffy
probably do? The most nonsensical thing you can think of.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, he's just going to bust up in there. That's what he's going to do.
And the voice actor of Yamato responded, you people don't know this show at all. Which, okay, fair. Netflix's social media team, probably not.
No,
but the people that actually made the Netflix One Piece, they know their stuff.
Hell,
yes, they did.
They did some really cool things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Not perfect.
No,
but
it's not perfect, but it's damn good.
More than serviceable. Just astonishingly good for how bad it could have been.
Oh, yes, because
could have been
better than I ever could have dared hope.
Yes. Yeah, same. I could not have imagined it turn out this well.
Yes.
I can actually recommend it fairly openly to lots of people.
As would I.
Yes, and there are lots of people now that have now gotten a little interested in the anime now.
I love it when you finish it. It's like next episode and it just goes to the anime.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you finished. Here you go. Here's more. It's not
all
like,
right,
oh,
you finished the abridged version. Now try the real thing.
Yeah.
Try the hard
you
stuff.
may like this. It's like, oh, here's the next episode. Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's a lot.
But I'm glad that it actually got people somewhat interested in One Piece, because of course you see a wider
margin of people, yeah.
Yeah, because when people know, like right now, the anime is like 1,070.
Yeah, it's a lot of episodes.
Yeah. So people are like, I'm not gonna watch all that.
And slightly more chapters than that in the manga.
Oh yes. So
it's a tall ask. I mean, honestly, as much as we love One Piece, I think we can all agree that even the early episodes of East Blue are not the best first impression.
It is not. That's how come a lot of people they question
competently made. The pacing is pretty good, especially compared to more modern times. But
yes,
it's really cartoony. It's mostly silly. it's just a tougher pill to swallow. And then you think, this has over 1,000 episodes.
Yeah, like people are like, y'all.
I always try and get
Y'all
people
really like
to try to commit through Arlong. That's what I always used to do. If you make it through Arlong and you don't like it, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Like
If
now-
you don't like it after Arlong, you're probably never going to like it.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, I'm just going to tell people, try out the Netflix show, and if you like it, give the anime a go. It's going to be a rough start, but it'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, I recommend that too. Like, hey, the first, and just say, hey, you know, this is, One Piece can be a little bit of a slow burn, you know, at the beginning, but just stick with it if you can, and then, you know, it does get really good.
My standard advice is to do an arc at a time. Early on, the reason I say go through Arlong, ideally you get through the East Blue, because that's like 52 episodes. Yes, that's a long anime for something that's not shown in Jump. But if you can make it, if you can commit to that, stop, take a break, watch something else.
Yes.
Come back to it. Do Alabasta. Stop, take a break, do something else. Keep going. And if you're really on fire and it really catches you, sure, go nuts. But One Piece is best done arc by arc. And I think that helps with the length. Because honestly, every arc is almost a different show.
Yes.
A lot of times, yeah.
I mean, there are continuing threads, but generally speaking, it's its own thing.
Yeah, just get through the arc, like you said, take a break. And one good thing is that filler arcs are only like 2-3 episodes. So you are not gonna the Millennium
Dragon.
Yep. But for the most part, the filler episodes, you're not gonna get like 10 filler episodes. It's gonna be just a few, and then we're gonna go to the next arc. So that's another good thing. Is like filler is just like a few episodes.
Short, pretty short,
very short.
Early on, like, you know, there's that. There's the Rainbow Mist, although I actually like that one. But eventually, yeah, you get a Boss Luffy every once in a while.
I like Boss Luffy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I did like that too. I'm not gonna lie, Boss Luffy.
The timing on it was bad for me. I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? I need to... Oh, that was hardcore. Why don't we do something silly? No, I need to know what happened.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah. We're going to throw Boss Luffy in here for a couple episodes. Then let's get back. Then let's get back to the shit.
Yeah, that can be annoying.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean...
Totally understandable.
Yeah, Boss Luffy's fine. It's silly, but that's fine.
Yeah, the placement was unfortunate. I will grant you that.
Though. That's the problem. They're like, oh man, that was pretty hard. Why don't we do something else? I'm like, no, why don't we not?
Yeah, how about we just keep going? No, you're going to get Boss Luffy.
I literally skipped it and went back to it later.
That's fair. I mean, that is also an option.
That is also an option too. If you don't want to watch those, you know, you can skip them this time. It is fine.
Don't worry. The recap of the next episode will clue you in on any important details that might have been like mixed in with the filler.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I promise you'll be fine.
Which they did a little bit of that with how Punk Hazard wraps up this little arc and then coming back to canon.
Yeah,
they did a little bit of that.
Yeah,
but it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. So yeah, we're staring down the barrel of Dressrosa, and it is gonna be a long journey.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It is.
And I'm hoping, and I'm wondering how Toonami is gonna do it. If they do air Dressrosa, because you know, I wonder if they're gonna do one episode or if they're gonna do two. But either way it goes.
No, it's
gonna
two
be
for now, and let's hope that it stays that way.
Yes,
I would like for them to take a page out of my personal book and just do like a marathon of new episodes sometime. It's not like It's not like we have a ton of things going on and we can't spare the time.
Yeah.
Give us a night of One Piece premieres every once in a while. Come on, do it.
Yes, it's just like you have a ton of episodes.
Do it every once in a
yes.
while. Every once in a while.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it all the time. Just,
No.
every once in a while be like, it's One Piece night, everyone. Let's go.
Yeah, because even doing it like once a month would help with moving it along, but I don't think they're going to do that.
No, they're not going to. They probably won't do that. I've been doing that with my crew, with my people I'm showing it to. We are in Dressrosa on the other end of it. With my local friends, I show my One Piece sets to. 2 weeks ago, we just went through a whole about 6 episodes of Dressrosa. Oh boy, things are getting spicy in there.
Yeah. It's gonna be quite the journey, and we will, I don't know, probably talk about it like 10 to 12 episodes at a time, depending. Like, if they keep the double episodes going for a little while, then maybe we'll do like 20 episodes at a time, but we'll see.
There's a lot that happens.
Whatever feels right.
All we're talking about, absolutely.
Yeah, Dressrosa is one of my favorite arcs.
Same.
So
it's very consequential. It's up there with Alabasta and Water 7 in terms of the impact to the story. It's a big one.
Yes.
To me, it's like Alabasta cranked to 11.
Yes!
Yeah. Yes.
And Alabasta, for the longest time, was my favorite arc. So that's one of the reasons I really, really, really like Dressrosa.
Fair. So the Punk Hazard arc. I think we collectively agreed that it is the Thor Ragnarok of One Piece arcs.
It is.
But that's definitely a good thing. It's I said this last time, but I really did when I saw Punk Hazard the first time, it quickly became my favorite arc because it's One Piece condensed into such a small, short package, but everything you love about One Piece in a small, quick, fun arc. It's great. It's not super consequential, although it does have some consequences. But it's fun.
No, it's tremendously consequential.
Well, yes. I mean, the way it...
This is setting up for Dressrosa and beyond.
Yeah, it is. It's setting up. It is setting up.
It's literally setting up everything after this.
It's a building block
it is.
that everything is built upon, but it's not like, oh, hey guys, remember all those things that you dealt with in Punk Hazard? No, we don't really care. But without it, you don't go anywhere else that does anything.
Yeah. I mean, probably the most key thing is, taking down Caesar's operation and Luffy and Law forming an alliance. Hey, by the way, some other pirates formed an alliance. The Kid, On Air, and Hawkins pirates.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, and all
this is a significant detail.
I was just about to say, oh my gosh, that alliance is one of those like, hey, please remember this alliance. Keep that in your back pocket. It is damn sure going to come back up in a big way. In a very big way. Just keep that in your little pocket.
Laughs in Wano Watcher.
I need to get there. So bad.
Yeah, seeing how that began and where it goes.
Yes.
Dang, man.
Yes, I am.
Dang.
I am sitting every Saturday night waiting for the new episode to upload. Watching Wano.
I gotta catch back up with my dub and then wait for my dub. That's what I gotta do.
Yes,
dub's getting there. It's in the thousands now.
It is. I'm so proud of the dub for that.
They've been cranking it for years.
Yeah, because I was like, holy shit!
Practically up to the simulcast.
I was gonna say at this point it may become a simuldub, and
less than a year.
I would love it if they just have simuldub One Piece. I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, that
is an insane proposition. But
yes,
it could actually happen.
Yeah,
without talking about
their dubbing.
Back when they were dubbing Thriller Bark. Back before Funimation slowed down, they were talking about trying to catch all the way up and then simuldubbing it. They said, "Oh, we're not sure this is going to happen. It's something we might like to do." And the way they're acting now, it's like, oh, this could actually happen now.
Yeah, because Toei's like, we're doing it, we're going.
I am so glad Toei took over. I love the Funimation production dub, but they gave up on it, and they really hated that they did that. And I'm so glad that Toei kept it going.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. It
It
really
has
will
just
be
been
awesome.
really nice to. It's a great time to be a One Piece fan. We've got.
It is the best time.
It
to
is
be
the
a
best
One
time.
Piece fan.
I have been a
It
One Piece
is.
fan for 20 some odd years.
At least in the
now.
U.S.
Yeah, and
Yes.
the dub is firing on all cylinders. We got a Netflix show that's actually good.
Yes.
Crazy things are happening. The internet's blowing up over certain meme moments in the manga and the anime.
Yes.
I couldn't ask for better. I couldn't.
It's wonderful. It is wonderful.
We've come a long, long way from Yayo. Oh.
Oh man, I still
He's
like
made
that.
rubber.
Though.
How did that happen?
Yo
Yo
ho,
ho,
we took a bite of gum.
gum.
I
I
mean,
still like that 4 kids.
it
rap.
lives in
Like,
our heads forever. It really,
Yes.
it really does. It's like,
yes.
look, I liked their version of We Are that they were thinking of using, but all right, Alcon, you were right. The rap was a good choice.
Yes, the rap.
It is the one thing of that
It
dub
lives
that I like.
on. It is the
Yes, it
one
does.
thing that lives on.
Yes, it
is in
definitely.
That and the unfortunate spelling of Zoro's name in the manga. Doggone it!
Yeah, the worst part is they had it right first, and then they changed it.
And then they changed it, and they're like, well, we're not going back. But
Why not?
why?
It's terrible. Why would you do that? You should have stuck to your guns.
It's very annoying every time I read the manga.
It's one of the reasons I don't read the manga.
It's like, I know I can just swap it in my head, but
I can't.
It's up there
It's
with
just-
Jin.
it's just so annoying.
It's up there with Jin Boo.
Oh, jeez. All right. Well, if you had anything to say about the Punk Hazard arc of One Piece, or anything else involving One Piece, or anything else, you can email us at podcast@toonamifaithful.com. You can email us at podcast@toonamifaithful.com. You can follow us on facebook.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast, and on Twitter @Toonami Podcast. You can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbay, Podbean, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, and TuneIn. And you can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at SoundCloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast, and get the latest news by following @Toonami News on Twitter, and read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. Yumiko, tell us where they can find you.
I am on the Twitters at BLU_temptation.com, and you can also read my reviews and editorials on ToonamiFaithful.com.
All right. Laser, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on twitter.com @LaserKidPrime. You can find my Toonami-focused editorials right here on Toonami Faithful, and you can frequently find me guesting on V-Lord's many podcasts that I memed into the existence of the V-Lord podcast universe. Be careful what you say on podcasts, people. Even if you're joking, it can become reality.
It's true. And you can find me on Twitter @Sketch1984, and on Blue Sky also, Sketch1984. And I'll do it for this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening. We always appreciate your listenership. Be sure to share with your friends. Maybe they'll enjoy it too. And until next time, we're punching out.
The One Piece stuff! It's real!
following conversation includes some mild spoilers for the Marvel Cinematic Universe and future arcs of One Piece.
So I was posing the question online because I was trying to get an opinion on what is the MCU movie that is important to watch but doesn't really stand alone on its own, other than, obviously Infinity War and Endgame are their own beast.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually say Thor 2.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, but not enough stuff of importance happens in Thor 2.
Mm-mm.
Well, that's true.
Debatably.
Then maybe Avengers 2.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Either Age of Ultron or Civil War.
Civil War is pretty big in and of itself and in the thing, so I would actually not include that one.
Age of Ultron, then.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just trying to make an MCU comparison to Punk Hazard.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You want the punk hat? You want the
We were
punk
like,
hat?
oh, okay.
Now I see what you're trying to do. If
Yeah,
you're trying to do the
okay.
punk hazard of the MCU, I would actually go with.
I wouldn't go with Thor 2 then.
No, I wouldn't either.
No,
And
not Thor 2.
And I wouldn't even go with Avengers 2. I would go with
maybe Captain Marvel.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That one is even less. That one would be like. That one would be like one of the filler arcs. I'm sorry.
I was just about to say, will that be filler? Okay.
That would be the filler episodes we're going to talk about. That's what that one is.
That's filler. Okay, I'm thinking.
Oh, I know what it is. It's Thor Ragnarok.
Yes. Yes, Thor Fraggle Rock is that's good.
Because if you don't have Thor Ragnarok, you don't have the Infinity War. Because, well, I mean, you do, but you don't have Loki dying in Infinity War. You don't have that whole thing there. So it sets everything up for Infinity War, but it doesn't actually do anything other than, like, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's a lot of great, but it doesn't actually, and but in terms of the overall MCU, it just gets our characters to where they need to be. That's all it does.
Because because at the end of Fraggle Rock is basically Thanos pulling up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's so. No,
And that's-
if you want the punk
Thanos
hazard
pulling
of
up
the MCU,
instead of Don Quixote to Flamingo.
like
just
I'm
bouncing
actually
his
gonna
ass through the
stand
air
a guy on
and
this
you
hill.
know.
It's the Thor Ragnarok because, like, you got Thor, like the Hela and the whole Asgard stuff. None of that matters to going on to the MCU and things going forward. But and, the Asgards are destroyed and everything. But it sets things up. Like the first minute of Infinity War plays into it, just like the first couple minutes of Dressrosa. You got Caesar, but we don't really care about most of that.
Yes. And I'll save this for the pod, but it's certain things that I've noticed in Punk Hazard that is a little foreshadowy when it comes to Wano.
Oh,
that I've noticed.
I'll have to come back to it when I actually get to Wano. I'm still on Whole Cake.
Whole Cake is so great.
I need to catch up, but it's just so much.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big cake.
Yeah, I love cake.
Yes.
And literally a big cake in Whole Cake.
More than one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she was so pissed. Okay, I'm sorry. Talking about Big Mom now. Oh, gosh.
That might be the comparison, though I do kind of feel like Age of Ultron's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, I mean, either one, really. Depends on what you're trying to do.
I like the Fraggle Rock one better because, like I said, just because of how it ends and how it takes us to.
Yeah.
You know,
that's why
something bigger.
That's why I was suggesting it, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm gonna keep calling it Fraggle Rock. I've never called it ever since they announced it. I've called it Fraggle Rock.
All right.
Okay, that's right.
Down to Fraggle Rock.
Fraggle Rock. Bop, bop.
It's not nearly as fun as Fraggle Rock, though.
No.
Come gears away, worries for another day.
Another day.
Let the music play.
Music play.
Down to Fraggle
Rock. Pop, pop.
Worries for another day. Let the music play. Down at Fraggle Rock. Down at Fraggle Rock.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
And that's a podcast.
Well, I just got off the phone with our lawyer, and he said this isn't a conflict of interest. I'd heard of the show, so I checked out Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the PS2. If you're just looking for a great fighting game, you might not love this one. But if you're into DBZ and you got a little time on your hands, check it out. There's a tournament mode and head-to-head fighting, but the real deal is the story mode. You can play through the storyline from Raditz' arrival all the way to the final battle with Cell. Not the greatest fighting game around, but it's got the real voices from the show, and it's a must-see for any DBZ fan.
Oh, it's incredible!
Toonami gives Budokai for the PS2 7 out of 10. Blondes do have more fun.
The Smiling Friends. We meet at last.
Can I pull your hair?
No, please don't. You've got that iconic shrimp glow that everyone's talking about.